What is happening, guys? JTF back at it in the old backyard here, just trying to get outside on this beautiful day. It's a little bit chilly, but it looks great out. It feels really, really nice. And it's a great time to go ahead and start talking about running. Now, if you don't know this about me, I got started on my fitness journey several years ago by trying to learn how to run a 5K. That was my goal. I wanted to be in good enough shape to run a 5K before I turned 30. And as a lot of you guys know, I spent about 3 months training for it. And I got my first 5K in roughly about 2 weeks before my 30th birthday, and it was kind of awesome. So I want to share with you today 5 things that I think make running such a cool sport to get into. Let's go ahead and get started right now. Go. First and foremost, guys, running is the OG, no excuses sport. You don't need any equipment. You don't need to live somewhere decent. You don't need to have anything special or be anything special or be a part of a club or anything like that. All you need to do is put clothes on and go outside. Okay, some people like to run on treadmills and stuff, and that's pretty cool, but you don't need a treadmill. You can just go outside and run. You can run in your yard, on the street, down the sidewalk, find somewhere cool to run. Trails are great. It's the perfect way to get yourself in shape with making minimal investment. Just your time, just your motivation. Now, even though you don't absolutely have to have anything to start running, I will say, part 2, running shoes are a must, okay? I started my first time ever running couch to 5K by running on a treadmill, and it was driving me crazy because I couldn't run for more than just a couple of seconds at a time before my knees started hurting, my ankles started hurting, I started getting plantar fasciitis, my shins hurt, like everything was bad. And that's why I started and failed couch to 5K 3 times before I actually finished it, okay? But I had a friend of mine who was an actual runner who came up to me and she's like, oh, well, it's because your knees are hurting and your shins are hurting because you're not wearing the right kind of shoes. And I look down and I'm wearing cross trainers, like that's what you're supposed to work out in, right? She says, no, if you want to be a good runner, if you want to run without pain, you need to get actual running shoes. And I thought, man, this girl's crazy. And I thought she was crazy for a long time after that. But when I finally did start running, I remember I went to Academy Sports and I picked up some just generic running shoes and tried those on, and it made a huge difference. My knees stopped hurting, my shins stopped hurting. They weren't perfect, but they made a huge difference in comparison to those cross trainers. A little while later, I remember going to Fleet Feet out in Farragut and got custom fitted for some shoes. Now, they were probably the most expensive shoes that I've ever bought, but they ended up being worth every single penny. Who knows how many 5Ks I ran in those shoes, how many miles I actually had in those. I think I ran my first half marathon in those shoes, so they were like way past their expiration. But they saved my knees, they saved my shins, they saved my ankles, they just saved my life and made running so much better for me. Number 3, people are hilarious. Now, I kind of mean this literally, but I've also had my tongue planted firmly in my cheek when I say this because it kind of goes both ways. Sometimes people are very nosy and very snarky when it comes to when they find out that you're a runner, and they like to say things like, oh, well, I only run if some guy with a chainsaw is after me. I only run if there's free beer. And those people are hysterical. That's just something that you have to deal with. It's not that big of a deal. You just got to show those people some grace and get by it. They just don't understand. They don't know. However, on the opposite end of that, the running community really is pretty hysterical. Like, I remember one of my highlights of my running career was doing my first half marathon. And I ran the Covenant Health half marathon that runs through downtown Knoxville. And while we were running through Sequoia Hills, there were so many people that came out to support us. It was like 8:30 in the morning and people were trying to hand out margaritas and pitchers. There were people dressed like the Ghostbusters. Every person from Star Wars was there. And when I got to the top of that last hill, somebody was holding a sign that didn't say you're almost there, because that's always a lie. It doesn't say you got this, because that's generic and also kind of a lie. But they were holding a sign that said if running was easy, it would be your mom. That's amazing. I love that so much. Running community is hysterical. It's a great community to be a part of. Next, and this is going to be kind of hard for some of y'all to chew, especially people who are just getting started. It is my humble opinion that running without music is the way to go, all right? When I started running, I remember going to the park. It was early in the morning, like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, I had my shorts on, usually have a tank top on, and I would have my phone in my hand because at the time my running shorts, I didn't have running shorts yet. They were just jogger, like basketball shorts, with these big pockets. And when I would run, my phone would kind of pop out of it, so I'd have to hold my phone, and wireless headphones, Bluetooth headphones did exist. They were just incredibly expensive at the time, so I didn't have any. I had my regular wired headphones on, so I'm running with my headphones, they're dangling. I've also got a water bottle in my other hand. Like, it was kind of pathetic how much stuff I was carrying with me, all because I felt like I needed to listen to music while I ran. Now, I do like to listen to music while I'm lifting weights or while I'm doing like some kind of cardio where I'm standing in place. But when it comes to being outside and running, I learned that no music is kind of the way to go, because I started running more and more with less and less stuff. I eventually stopped carrying my water bottle. That didn't last long at all because that was just too much to handle. And I still carried my phone, but I lost my headphones because it was just, that dangling was driving me kind of crazy. And in that moment, I started to realize, man, there's so much to hear out here. There's so much to see and do and experience, and you're hearing all this stuff outside. It's a very zen, very spiritual thing for me. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be great for everybody, because some people do like to work out with music, and that's okay. But I am saying that you need to give it a shot, a fair shot, because running outside with no music is a killer way to kind of zone in with yourself and get into nature a little bit and just kind of zone out. It's an amazing thing. And finally, number 5, this is the biggest lesson that I learned from running. Guys, it teaches you that your body is capable of doing so much more than you could ever believe. I remember when I ran that first 5K, I thought, that was the first time I had ran 3 miles without stopping to walk or, slowing my pace down. I kept the consistent pace through the entire thing, and I finished. And that was such an amazing thing to know that just a couple of months ago, I wasn't able to even do that. And one of my running friends at the time said, oh, we ran a 5K, why don't we just do a 10K? I'm like, I'm not gonna do a 10K, that's ridiculous. That's really not necessary. I just did a 5K, what more do you want from me? But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, man, if I ran 3 miles, who's to say I can't do 6? It seems impossible right now, but like I've said before, impossible is only impossible until it's not. So I ran that 10K. Then they bullied me into running a half marathon. Then they bullied me into running a second half marathon. And it's crazy to think that I went from being a guy who, didn't like taking the stairs because I would be too out of breath, to being the exact same person who was capable of running a half marathon twice. Now, I didn't need to get in shape for it, but I was the same person. I was using the same body. I had the same capabilities. I just had to be shown that I had to do it. I had to believe that I was capable of doing it. And when I believed that I could do it, I did it. And running really taught me that. It's kind of made me more resilient in so many other regards too. It teaches you that you are capable of way more than you ever imagined. Anyway, guys, that's all I got today to talk about running. Thank you so much for listening. If you thought this video was cool, please share it with your friends. Like, comment, let me know what you'd like to hear about. I'm covering everything from fitness to nutrition to personal development. I don't care. There's no topic that's off the table. If there's something you want to hear about, send it my way. I'm not covering a whole lot of new ground, guys. I'm just giving you my take on it, my style of coaching on it. So any topic is totally game. Please let me know what you're into. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. I will see you all next week. Until then, ever onward.